A top 2 spot, a coveted top 2 spot on the line for the West Torrens Eagles. They can lock it up tonight, but standing in the way is the team that is chasing them, looking to hunt them down and make a late charge. It's the West Torrens Eagles. It's the Port Adelaide Magpie. It's a little bit of Wednesday live softball action here. The Premier League competition in Adelaide, South Australia, here on beautiful Ghana land. My name is Eric Ballnar, joined by two of the greatest softball minds I've ever encountered, Lee Hull and Anthony Weatherstone. Fellas, this has been one that we've been kind of chatting about all week, hasn't it?
Good evening, Eric. Good evening, Lee. Good evening, everybody. Absolutely. It's a massive game, so looking forward to it.
Good evening, everybody and boys. And I'll be interested to see how Amber Hood goes playing third base. First time in her life, I believe. Oh. But no Sophie Hoyle here, so they've had to change things around a bit. Take Amber from second to third. I think this is going to be a tight go.
Well, this graphic, if you go by it here, this doesn't tell the whole story, especially looking at the last 5. Now, that's accurate for the Port Magpies. They've been playing some very good softball since the Christmas break. West Torrens, remember, they were on that big 13-game win streak. Then they lost 3 in a row. They've come back. They've won 2 in a row. They stabilized the ship a little bit. So both teams have consecutive wins colliding into each other. Both teams rolling out 2 good pitchers against each other. We get a pretty good tussle.
Absolutely. I mean, you look at the game that they played a couple of weeks ago. It was 1-0 to the 6th, where Borovnik had scored an early run in that game with their pitchers on. And then the Port loaded up at the end, and Maslin put the ball over for a grand slam for a come from behind walk-off. So, yeah, we would expect it to be close, and considering you've got the current reigning Cathcart medalist, Steph Trzynski, on the mound tonight, who's, came in on the weekend and was on fire against the Cats at the end.
And she's fresh.
And she's fresh, and we get a look at the new Port pitcher from Germany in the States, so very exciting.
West Torrens, they get on base a lot. They play some pretty solid defense based on the stats. But when you boil it down, it really all comes down to arguably their most important player on their roster, which is Steph Trzynski, who is, Lee, I mean, you always marvel at her ERA when those pop up on there, but you don't get much off of her.
No, you don't. And so you've got to take your opportunities when they present themselves. You get runners on, you've got to do everything in your power. If it means sacrifice bunting, then you need to do it to move those runners into a scoring position.
While we haven't seen in a while a full strength, everybody active Magpie side, it's still dangerous. Look especially at this top 4 and then some really good emerging talent coming at the bottom. But Gemma Letton, an exceptional season. Jess Maslin, a Cath Coral medalist. And then some nice players to round it out. We're still waiting for Elizabeth Engler to have her first hit. The Magpies, they do get a lot of hits.
They do. And Saturday they played in the Indigenous round that they hosted against Glenelg, which they ended up winning 7-zip, and they were very, very aggressive. Gemma Letton's first pitch was a stand-up single, and that set the tone early on, and they were pretty much first pitch swinging straight away. So it'll be interesting tonight against somebody of Steph's quality whether or not that game plan changes. But yeah.
And they put 4 runs on the board early initially, and that was the game just about.
Lee, as you identified, there's no Sophie Hoyle, who's a big contributor offensively, but also an important part over at second base. So Mary Few slots in. Amber Hood going over to play third base. That will be an interesting one to watch.
It'll be interesting to me because I know I rate Amber as a very good player, and we've seen that this year at second base or catching, but be interesting to see how she goes.
Those are the teams. That's the situation. Let's play some softball. And Steph Trzynski delivers the first pitch of the game. It's up high for a ball going against Gemma Letton, who has had a tremendous season.
Very dangerous player when she gets on base. She's got wheels, real wheels. Nice to see Cara Tilton back in the lineup after sojourn back to the States. And she'll be catching, so gives Jess Maslin a bit of a breather from catching.
That
she goes to third.
That 563 mark for Gemma Letton, one of the best in the competition. And she gets jammed a little bit. It goes right towards Kelsey Nucky over at first, but a quick first out.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a good bit of homework there by Carly. The first pitch high and up in the zone, big kicking rise ball. So, but that one, yeah, as you said, Eric, just jammed her in. So at Steph's pace, that's always going to be hard.
Smart, experienced catcher, isn't she, Carly?
Yeah, it makes a difference. She does her homework, so that's going to, for a pitcher, when you don't have to worry about what the hitter's going to do, you can just worry about executing. That's half the battle. So.
Yep.
Taylor Chillingworth had that big breakout year last season, and her average is starting to climb week over week right now as the season has gone on. Much like Port Adelaide, she's starting to come into form at the right time.
And in the Stars team as well, which is a wonderful achievement for a young player.
Oh, great pitch.
One
nice drop ball on the outside edge there. So
yeah, and when you're batting against a person like Steph, you need to track it right to the hitting position, you know, otherwise your head falls away, the ball goes the other way.
Chillingworth up in the air. That one drifts foul. So she'll stay behind in the count, and position batters find themselves quite often versus Steph Drzezinski.
Not a good place to be either. So, so Chillingworth's one of the only 3 hitters that's actually had a hit off of Steph this year for Port, with Letton and Grauer being the other 2.
She's getting a piece of it, but fouling them all off right now. Still living to fight another pitch.
And Steph's got so much variety in the armoury, hasn't she? You know, once she gets in front of you, you're in trouble.
Yeah, it'd be a surprise at this count that you'd be seeing too much else in the zone until it matters. So challenge is, of course, now on Chillingworth to do her best to kill the edges here at an inch and trust no one.
Well, she's battling.
Yep, she's hanging in there.
And I love that about Steph too. That's an aggressive pitch. She's still trying to either get you striking out, swinging at that, or at the very least ground that out to the right side. She's just not throwing junk just for the sake of it to see if you're going to chase a bad pitch.
When she's on, she's really on.
She's been used sparingly in the last month, and she wins a long battle with Taylor Chillingworth down on 3 strikes at the end of the day. First one of the day for Steph Drzezinski. She's got that high strikeout ratio.
Yeah, so last time Steph went up against the Port #1 in Grauer was back in round 9, early December, and that was a very tight game, but she dominated. So she only gave up the 4 hits for the day, and still went on to pick up a bunch of strikeouts. So she had 11 Ks still on that day, which is, for a side that's third and retiring half the side just on strikeouts, that's dominance.
Charlize Callahan up to bat right now. She had that big game in the Indigenous round over the weekend. Had a couple hits and a couple nice defensive plays, Charlize.
Yeah, she was busy.
So again, she's finding form for
Good
Port
time of the year
Adelaide.
to do it.
Port busted out of the gates this year, and they had a slumpy middle stretch, you could call it. But since the Christmas break, they're looking more like the Port team we kind of expected.
Yeah, 7-1 to start, the season. They were on fire, and but I mean, 3 or 4 of their key players have played probably 75% of the season, and unfortunately, that gap in that 25% when those players aren't available, that sort of brought them back to the pack a bit.
Missing players like Dolphin and Neves tonight, and of course Yo Grauer, who won the Cath Coral medal just 2 seasons ago.
Yep.
We talked about this on the broadcast on Saturday. We haven't seen that Port lineup. If they just said, this is the best we got, let's throw it at you, I have a feeling we'll be seeing that in a couple weeks, no matter what happens in the result of this game.
Gee, I'm not leaving that.
No, I mean, it's a massive game for Port Adelaide. I mean, it's a massive game for West Torrens. That ability to lock up second with a couple of games still up your sleeve so you can manipulate your bullpen and manipulate your side. But the reality is the double chance is huge.
Up the middle, scooped up by Alana Kaesler, and she makes a nice play to end the inning, a 1-2-3 for the West Torrens defense.
That's a great play by Lana Kaesler. I mean, how far has she come, Lee? just, staying low, coming from third. I mean, tonight there would have been maybe an argument that Lana spent so much time at third base. Maybe would you just roll her back in there and put Amber out to short?
Yeah, where she's played for Hills.
And she's got that coverage, but they've stuck with her, which makes sense because that's where she's going to play come finals, and that was evidence just
her main strength, Anna, playing at shortstop. Yeah. She's got terrific lateral movement, but she also comes to the ball. She comes to the ball, attacks the ball.
Yeah.
Well, the Port Magpies defense will run out there, and it's a bit of a different look on this way too. The third base women, they're actually the storyline in this game, it turns out. Jess Maslin, another Cath Coral medalist, over at third base. She moves over there with no Jess Neves, so it'll be the middle infield of Callahan and Chillingworth, and then Georgia Burr, a very young, well, I guess just center left to right of the defense. But one person we've been anxious to see in the circle is this woman right here, Elizabeth Engler. She's just joined us after a long stint in the NCAA, also playing in Germany, moved over to South Australia just recently, has joined the Magpies. She's had a few games as a batswoman, but she hasn't been in the circle. And Anthony, if you've played NCAA softball and you've pitched there with some decent numbers, you can play. Might be okay.
You would suggest that you'd probably get a game in most places, for sure. So, look, there's a lot to like about it. Just, how she presents straight away. She's got, long arms, long legs, so she's got good levers. You'd assume that she'd have some tricks up her sleeve. So I think this will actually help her offense tonight because, she's been playing first, trying to sort of get in with the team after a couple of games, and now she's probably back to where she's more comfortable. So I reckon it'll be total package from her tonight.
Amber Hood leads things off. West Torrens' big recruit at the start of the season. It turns out to be a vital one with no Jordan Harris this year, and she's put up Jordan Harris-esque numbers, to be honest. If you're slotting them in and out, hitting .426, getting on base even more with 12 walks. She's probably been everything they really needed from that leadoff spot and a huge hole to fill.
Absolutely, and imagine if Jordan Harris was there too and they picked her up. I mean,
100%.
Things off nicely, wouldn't it?
Yeah. So, no, she's been amazing. So clutch too. She's, 25% of their runs scored through her, so.
Yeah, that Hood-Hoyle connection this year has contributed to a bulk of their offense, hasn't it?
Yeah. But, I mean, the challenge, for a good leadoff is she's got to get on, and that's what she does, and that's the beauty of it. So,
and a first pitch walk just takes 4 pitches, so Amber Hood is aboard.
Be interesting to see how West Torrens play this early. So against a new pitcher that they're all going to want to sort of have a bit of a look at and have a bit of a chat about. So there'll be some intel getting past pretty quickly. So,
were you surprised to see Jess Maslin not catching their regular catcher, the Cath Coral medalist, not catching when there's a first-time debutante pitcher?
Yeah, I mean, I would have thought, but I mean, we don't know what their bullpen work is at training, and if she's maybe had a go in the reserves, so maybe there's a connection there. But yeah, I would have thought Jess would have been the logical choice, but.
Jackie Beal squaring up to bunt.
Interesting to see the great Mel McGee as the assistant coach tonight.
Yeah.
And, so that's fantastic. That'll be great for the West Torrens Eagles players with their experience.
Oh, absolutely.
One of the only players that's a left-handed hitter in this competition, Jackie Beal.
Yeah. I remember running a Sturt side where we had 5 and 5. All the way down through our DH. We had 5 lefties, 5 righties, and we batted it in interchange. It was great.
Have a look at the Japanese Olympic team. They're usually 9.
Yeah.
They work on the principle, you get 1 run, you won't get any.
Yeah.
We get 1, you won't get any.
Yeah. Something's going to happen here. That's good batting.
Just moves away at that last second.
In my opinion, Jackie looks far more comfortable batting 2 than batting 9.
You've said that, and I think what it does is it gives protection to Amber in the games that matter, where you're not relying on stealing as so much. It gives you that advancing runner, and then you get Kaysler, Hoyle, Trzynski to bat that run in.
Let's Lana, who's played majority of the year at 2, gets her down a bit where she's a bit more comfortable.
Count worked full. Jackie Beal Corners crashing a little bit, and it's a swing, a miss, the throw over towards second. Chillingworth made the leap for it. Amber Hood just stays on second. So it's a swing and a miss. If the objective was to bunt and advance the runner and sacrifice yourself, it ends up with the same result.
Yeah, you can see, Hall's gone on the full count. So throws just off, fairly way off, and Amble's there anyway. So Angler just needs to settle here. She's just thrown a touch high in her zone. So
Lana Kaesler up to bat.
if she's got the scattering report on Kaesler, the last time that Lana swung a bat, she hit a ball 240 feet over left field. So hopefully she's going to respect the power that Kaesler has. So
well, when you're a pitcher like Elizabeth, sometimes you get caught up in the trap. I'm going to blast them out.
Yeah.
And that's not your forte. Your strength. Go to your strength and pitch what you can pitch.
Well, she's getting, you can see she's got a little bit of natural dip on the
Yep.
ball. She's just sitting it up too high at the moment. That's
a lovely pitch.
That's her height. If she starts getting that going and starts dropping that down through the zone, that's going to make the drop a fairly tough pitch to hit all night.
2 balls and a strike issued to Lana Kaesler. And she swings through a change.
So she does have some tricks.
Yep. Well, that's what I come back to, you know. Don't try and blast them out. Leave that to people like Steph, who's got the pace.
Yep.
Or Yo.
Yeah, but a tall pitcher like that, you know, arms and legs flying around, they seem like they're getting on you a bit quicker. I mean, she is jumping a fair way, so by the time she's planting, she feels like at that height, she's pretty much on you as it is. So,
and you only have to look at Jade Peterson's stats to show you don't have to blast them out.
This one blasted towards center field, but ranging back and leaping up to make the play is the smiling assassin. Gemma Letton makes a really nice play in center field. It keeps a run off the board.
Not only that, she had a lovely throw back to the relay person. It stopped the runner, Amber, getting home.
yeah, she's judged that really well, and she's reacted really well too to make sure that nothing gets scored on that. Poor old Gemma didn't get a play on the weekend, so she's in the game early, which is going to be good for her.
Steph Trzynski going opposite field. That drops in foul. Crucial she makes that catch because it would have scored Amber Hood and would have kept a runner in scoring position for Steph Trzynski, who is putting up some big numbers for this squad again. She's also hit 2 home runs. She's got more extra base hits than she has hits.
She makes good contact. She hits it as hard as anyone.
And she's pretty aggressive tonight, so it's her first look at this pitcher, and she's swung twice, so she's backing herself in. So
if I'm Liz Engler, I'm pitching a few more of those drops and the off pace. Against hitting side like this, West Torrens, don't give them too much pace. You'll be chasing.
yeah.
Happy to watch that one sail high.
Yeah, I'd be pitching very cautiously here at this particular point. I mean, it's not the end of the world to give her a walk in this situation.
I'd throw change up.
Swing and a miss. And a big reaction from Steph Trzynski because Elizabeth Engler just won that battle.
That's good. That was bit to like there.
It got a wow from you.
Yeah, no, that's. I mean, again, you sort of come down and you're not knowing what you're going to expect, and you know she was sitting up early to start with, and but as soon as she started to get that range of that drop sort of coming down, she started to find the zone a bit more, which was putting a little bit of pressure back on the hitters. But she's got a little deceiving change there that wasn't particularly pickable straight off the bat. So that's that's good signs.
Well, that's what the really strong hitters, the hard hitters of the ball, do not like.
No.
They do not like the pace off the pitch.
Well, I reckon after watching that first inning of work from Elizabeth Engler, after she walked the first batter in 4 pitches, she got 2 strikeouts, including Jackie Beal and Steph Trzynski. The odds makers would be lowering the over total in this game significantly after watching that.
Yeah, we're not going to say our predictions on air, are we? Or?
No, but okay. I think there was a discussion, especially among you two, of a very low-scoring game, and that makes a whole lot of sense when you have Steph Trzynski and an NCAA pitcher in the circle.
Yeah, for sure. So, but now this is going to be interesting too, because the last time that Maslin swung against the Eagles was a grand slam. So, granted, it wasn't against Steph, but
that ball went a mile.
She has that capability. So. But that was the thing that was noticeable in the round 9 game of Steph, was what she did was she threw a lot of the leadoffs. I think it was 6 of the 6 leadoffs she threw, and she got them out. So that means straight away Port are dealing with 1 out, and it takes away their short game. So they have to just rely on trying to bat their way off of Steph, which is really hard. If you can get a leadoff at none out, it gives you at least an opportunity to maybe engineer something. It at least changes the way the field sets. So. Yeah.
The thing is with Steph, you need to stay in the count.
Yeah.
You can't get behind.
Yeah.
In every respect of the word, Steph Trzynski likes to get ahead, whether it be in the count, in the inning. She falls behind early, although it's just 1 ball.
Well, I think a little bit of that first at bat that she just had there was a little bit of you know, hey, listen, you know, you're a new pitcher here. I'm the current Kath Coral medalist. I'm going after you straight away. So.
This one flaring towards right field, and it's dropped out in right field. Maslin on her bike to second, and a bit of a misplay over in right field. Danny Backside couldn't bring that in, and those little mistakes have proved costly for West Torrens over the last couple years. And look at the leading team's replay.
Yeah, so Backside, she sort of just misread. Unfortunately, it just sort of dropped on her.
It dropped quickly.
Yeah. So I was saying before in the pre-game that she's seemed to have played all the outfield positions. So,
well, now we get a look at Georgia Burr, one of the brightest young hitting talents in the state.
I mean, if I'm Port at this situation, this early in the game, you nearly think about pinch running here at none out.
With runs at a premium?
Yeah, absolutely. You might not get this opportunity too often, so it's a none out situation. You're going to be in the middle of your order. You need to roll the dice, because this might be the only shot you get. I don't think Backsky is going to do that again. Not that she deliberately did that, but I don't think.
So Georgia Burr, good job laying off that pitch. Steph Trzynski breathes a bit of a sigh of, it was the pitch she wanted.
Yeah,
well, that's what happens when you're prepared to track the ball to your hitting position. Watch the ball all the way.
She gets in front. She normally goes back inside hard on the hands.
Swing and a miss.
But at least she was getting that called early in the game as well, like in the first. Whereas that outside for both of the pitches so far, the outside hasn't seemed to be getting rung up yet. So that's an opportunity lost there for Port. They should have done something better than that.
Runner still remains at second.
True.
And still only 1 out. Cara Tilton up to bat, and theoretically, unless something goes really wonky, Elizabeth Engler will have an opportunity. She's still looking for that first hit. We know the hitting capability is there, looking at her numbers in Germany and NCAA.
Yeah.
So a very important couple at-bats coming up here, and Steph Trzynski just getting Cara Tilton to swing.
Yeah, just taking a bit off of that, just concentrating on a bit of ball spin there, getting a bit of movement.
Tried to frame it, but again, like you said, Weathers, that outside is not being called, so it's consistent.
It's a bit cold at the moment. Carly's asking the question too, if we're going to use it tonight. But look, and sometimes you get different blue umpires. That's what happens sometimes. So it's about making the adjustment, and Carly's smart enough to do that.
2 straight strikeouts with runner in scoring position for Steph Trzynski.
Let's see if her first innings pitched in the Premier League and 2 strikeouts has done anything for her confidence.
See, the problem I have, you've had the runner with none out, you've had the runner at second, and she still remains there.
Yeah.
You've had 2 hitters.
Yeah.
Short play, anything, give her a chance to run.
Well, there hasn't been a ball in play since that runner went to second. And Elizabeth Engler She got the best of Steph Trzynski with the ball in hand. Now she's got the bat in her mitts. And
with that first pitch there, I think also it was evident from Steph. I mean, that was straight down the middle. That was just hard and fast coming on the up. That was just that was a challenge to get after. So,
can you afford to pitch Elizabeth Engler a little bit fine here, knowing you've got Taylor Oates and Zoe Thompson, with all due respect, following?
Well, Oates did some good things on the weekend. So
she did,
and she's, you know,
experienced player.
Experience. So
yep.
I think I'd be going. I think I'd be going at her, and I don't imagine for a second that Steph would be pitching around her. So
there's no way.
No.
And also with a pitcher like Steph, with the pace she's got, you get suckered in, don't you? You swing harder when you don't really need to. Just need to make contact, good contact.
She will toy with you, Steph Trzynski. And Engler puts it into play, but it's right to Nucky. It's an easy step on the bag. Yeah. They got the ball in play, but it was nothing of significance. So they get a runner on second, can't score it, mid-2, still no score.
We talked about it at the start of the game, boys. You get opportunities, Port. You need to make the most of them. You know, push them along.
We said the
sacrifice bunt. You put it a third. Any missed pitch, the ball gets away from the catcher. Anything like that scores a run.
Even in that situation, even if you're at 1 out and you've got Maslin at third, in a worst case scenario, you know, if you're bunting to the right side and you try and bring Nucky into play and Maslin's coming down the side, the thing is at least you're doing something. Whereas you've got 2 strikeouts and a ground out to first to show for it. So.
Beautiful night down here at the Softball South Australia Complex. Not too much wind. It's fairly warm out. It's a good West Beach night, but both pitchers starting off well, Steph Trzynski and Elizabeth Engler. What's on the line? Well, Port Adelaide, they probably need to win out, to be honest. Well, they will need to win out if they want an opportunity to finish top 2. They can move within 2 points of that spot if they beat West Torrens, but if West Torrens win, they mathematically clinch a top 2 spot, and they will play in the double chance game. And Port Adelaide would wait for one of Walkerville or Hills. So even though we'll be all done in 10 days' time with the minor rounds, there's still a few things to sort out.
Yeah, I mean, the double chance is huge because it basically just means you get to have a free go. It's ironic, as funny as it sounds, that semi that you play is the 1v2 spot is the easiest game that you play of the year. And what I mean by that is that because the reality is you can just go for it and you're not hold anything back. So to have that opportunity is massive, knowing that you've got a fallback game. Not that you want to, but that ability to go down to the ballpark and know that in that semi-final we win, we're in a grand final, we lose, we get another shot. It's a massive thing.
You play with a bit of freedom, don't you?
That's right, like you do let it go. So
clear head, go into the batting box, you know.
I mean, if you fall back and you go into the elimination game, that's a totally different story. Then you're terrified.
Kelsey Nucky up to bat in West Torrens after a couple back-to-back heartbreaks in grand finals. They were in the double chance game last year. They lost that to Sturt, and then they lost to Hills in the elimination game. So just because you're in the top 2 doesn't mean you're guaranteed a spot in the grand final, but point very well made.
Yeah. So Engler here is definitely seeming to find her radar. That was a great drop pitch there that she just got Nucky on.
That's what she's beaten them up with that every time so far.
Danny Backsky.
I tell you what, that's dangerous for Port going into a final series. If you can hit Grower off, and then maybe this is what comes on afterwards. That's
great.
might not be ideal. So,
no, completely different pitcher. Especially
when you go 3 times through a lineup, you know that finally Port have got somebody in a situation so that instead of Hoyle, Trzynski and Kaesler that 3rd time round getting another look at Grower when it matters, you know, this gives Port an ace up their sleeve in that regard. So, but early days, but she looks good so far.
She walked her first batter in 4 pitches, and since then 3 strikeouts and a nice catch from Gemma Letton in support at center field. And she's ahead versus Danny Backside.
You can see already, you can start to see a little bit of her body movement just in the way that some of her pitches are coming out, in the way that how fast she's striding on that change, and obviously the shorter step on the drop. So there's some early
She looks
indication.
confident.
Yeah, but as a hitter, there's something to work with there.
Yep.
I'm sure that first base coach for the Eagles will be doing a fairly good job of communicating that type of stuff, because she'd be getting a good look on that side there over with Mel. So,
Well, I'm saying she'll go to the off-pace pitch now.
well, it's been the weapon so far.
Yeah,
It's been
yeah.
the strikeout pitch for what, 2 of the 3 batters. So,
No reason to change it here.
Reaching down and right to the glove of Taylor Chillingworth, 2 down.
you're a seer, Lee.
Steer, did you say? Or
A seer.
Okay,
Both.
just checking.
Yeah, so that's good work. I mean, the catcher for Port Adelaide, we talked about Maslin before, but so far she's calling what's working, and if it hasn't worked, she's put it away pretty quickly. So that's good.
Mary Fuse up to bat.
So she had a really good day out. So she came in at 2-all and was the pinch hitter by Coach Scott, and hit that ball centre right, which seems to be her alley. She just seems to like get her hands inside out and just hit behind that second base runner. As she then
She
goes
pops
opposite
one
field.
out towards left field. Could be a tricky one, and it is. Drops above Taylor Oates, and Mary Fuse continues her run of form, and she's aboard for the first base runner since the first plate appearance of the game.
Yeah, I was going to say, she must have some confidence to come in and hit a walk-off double like that. But she's turned on a ball there, and that's why she's in the side. Sometimes the coaching thing is that you pick a side based on your offense, you pick a side on your defense, and she's forcing her way in by her offense at the moment, because you need a run to score to win a game. So
Fairly experienced batter in the 8-hole. Carly Allen.
I'll tell you what, the catcher, Cara Tilton's doing a fine job, isn't she? She's calling the right pitches here.
yeah, well, she's made the adjustment with the pitcher just in setting that point up lower.
Yep.
And that pitch,
Jammed, and it's brought in by Jess Maslin, so that
same
will do it
pitch.
for the reside.
Yeah.
but see, West Torrens, I think that'll be okay. They'll go into the dugout, with people like Mel McGee and Andrew Scott there. They're going to have a chat, and they're going to say, listen, what have we seen in 8 batters? Right? We've seen, obviously, some off-speed stuff that's been fairly deceptive, and because it's a new pitcher. So they're not going to be upset. I mean, they've had a couple of runners. Amber's got on, Fuss gets on, so that's still early.
They're in the
positive
game.
signs. Absolutely. They're not going to feel like they're getting overwhelmed by that stage.
Well, Port will lead things off here. These are just 7-inning games, by the way, or 90 minutes, whatever comes first. We've reached the half-hour point, so still an hour to go in game time. Plenty of time. This game should be in contention to go the distance with the low scores so far.
Yeah, so the challenge here is that Port have got to find a way to get people on base against Trzynski, and that's what's holding them back at the moment. And they got an opportunity last dig. They weren't able to execute anything from beyond that, and picked up a couple of strikeouts. So they
Play the percentages.
Yep.
Get somebody in the scoring position, move them round.
Yep.
Keep them coming.
Yeah, don't be greedy at this stage. I mean, if you're engineering for one in this innings, engineer for one, because that's one on the board, and you can work at least with that and then build for the next thing. If you get a couple of back-to-back hits, that's a different game for sure, but there's been no evidence so far that that's what's on the card. So whether or not that means play short, stand a bit closer to the plate and try and open up a part of the zone that's going to help you out as a hitter.
Play the percentages.
Taylor Oates leads things off. Zoe Thompson and Gemma Letton do up for the Magpies in the top part of the 3rd inning.
Taylor can hit. We've seen that.
Trzynski allowed just that one hit that would have been hard done by on her books as the hit towards right field. Hasn't been too much off Steph in the early goings. Up the middle, Trzynski, Nucky, there's one.
So again, you lose your lead off, so now you're 1 out. So it limits your choices straight away. So, so number 9 here at the plate, the young Zoe Thompson.
Only had 13 plate appearances this season. She does have a hit. Working her way into that top side, Zoe Thompson.
I don't think she would have had too many at-bats against somebody of this quality, though.
No.
But if she can get herself on in some way, you've got the dangerous Gemma Letton coming to the plate, who's seen Steph in that first dig, so...
That outside not being called. They're not budging on that.
No, not yet.
Lee, have you taken us around the umpires yet?
No, I haven't, but I will after this next pitch, sir.
Thank you.
Pleasure is all mine.
1-1 count.
The umpires for tonight on plate at Steve Wallace-Yarrow, first base Damien McCauley, and at third base Kevin Tannenbrink.
No nicknames tonight, Lee.
No, I'll just give them a rest until I get some better ones, which I will.
Yeah.
Oh, there's
That's
the
a great
pitch.
pitch.
Well framed, Carly. Good job.
Steph's 4th strikeout of the game. She had 1 in the first, 2 in the second, and now 1 in the third.
So Gemma's been super aggressive, and her first pitch last time was a big kicking rise ball.
Well, Gemma Letton entering the game had the competition lead for batting average. I reckon she's bumped down to second after she was 0 for 1 to start the day and only had the 2 points above Belinda White. If she gets a hit, she'll be right back up there.
I reckon I'd go a running bunt here. It's the only thing West Torrens aren't prepared for. Look where their people on the lines, Kelsey and Amber, are standing way back.
She uses her speed. 27 hits this year, but 21 of them have been singles.
She's going to give herself a chance to run. That's what I'm getting at.
So big swing. And Steph Trzynski in a good position.
Stars teammates, just in the recently announced team. So Port Adelaide have got 3, West Torrens have got 4.
Some good young players in that team, isn't there? Which is great for the future of the sport in this state.
Letton, Grauer, and Chillingworth getting the nod. And there's a few players in the mix that aren't on the Stars team but are very dangerous batters in their own right, especially on this Port Adelaide team.
Playing at home too, so that'll be good.
Off towards the right side, foul.
Got a good eye, hasn't she, Gemma?
Yeah.
That's why she bats at 1.
And that's the first time that we've seen a Port Adelaide hitter tonight not fully commit their swing. That was the first time she's actually taken a fair bit off the swing to try and find contact and put the ball into play to force the infield and not just try and put it straight to the fence. Port might need to be doing a bit more of that.
Yeah.
Well, one of the more lengthy at-bats we've seen versus Steph Trzynski this game. Taylor Chillingworth had a pretty lengthy battle in the first inning. She fouled a bunch away at an 0-2 count. But it's been a good effort from Gemma Letton to keep things at 2-2 and give herself that shot. She's still 2 pitches away from getting on base or just 1 swing of the bat. And it goes up the middle. They'll test Mary Fuse at second, and she makes the play. So it's a 1-2-3 inning. Only that 1 base runner that Port have managed to get on so far on a little mishit over towards the right field.
Yeah, that's best pitcher in the league versus best hitter by statistics. Not necessarily the case. I mean, I'm pretty sure that Belinda White and some other players will be around the mark, but statistically that's the best versus best. So
it was a good battle.
That was a good battle.
Yep.
That's what you would expect from those types of 2 players. So, but
Well, Steph looks fresh to me, doesn't she? She looks fresh and bubbly and vibrant.
Dangerous lead-off here for the Eagles. You've got Brodie Borovnik coming on, whose form since Christmas was pretty good. As soon as she came back, and maybe not as much in the last couple of games, and obviously fighting for a position. The Eagles have got some depth there. They've got a couple of players that are fighting for those spots. So this is a really important at-bat because it's the first time she's going to see this pitcher. She's trying to cement herself in the side. But if she gets herself on, and we're early in the game, and then you bring the dangerous Amber Hood, who could do anything at the plate.
When she's going Brody, she goes long to left field.
Yeah, this is just a really important lead-off hitter for Port. They really need this one.
Excellent point.
Hello?
It's called a strike.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure Elizabeth Engler will be quite happy that opens up.
Yeah.
And quickly.
2 strikes on the batter now. What do you think she's going to throw? I know what she's going to throw. It'll be the off pace.
Well, you can just tell with her feet just how big that stand, like that that fast ball that she's throwing, and the change up. The delivery is exactly the same. It's only the short step on the drop. So
hard to pick up as a batter.
yeah.
I think it just slipped out of her hands a little bit on delivery.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go away from it, though. If I'm Liz, I'm throwing it again. Like that.
Oh. Look out. Strikeout number 4. Same number as Steph Trzynski. 1 down. Amber Hood, she walked in the first inning. It was a 4-pitch walk. It was a pretty cruisy time for Amber Hood.
Might be a bit different this time. Let's see.
I'd throw that off pace first up to her.
Just the 1 hit allowed since then. And that was Mary Fuse who went in that deep patch over in left field.
Yeah, I think I've said it before. I mean, sometimes.
In the air, it is that awkward soft spot trying to track back to make the play. Charlize Callahan, who's switched over to second base for this game, makes the play on the soft contact, 2 down.
Yeah, I think I've said it before. Sometimes with these young players, when they come to the plate like Mary Fuss, because maybe just watching Amber here, just get in front of the ball, just got underneath it, just probably just mistimed it just slightly, and a good catch taken by second base. Is that the young players, they come to the plate and they don't think about it as much as we're talking about it.
That's right.
And Mary's just met the ball on contact for Mary.
Kept it simple.
Real simple.
Yep.
And sometimes, you know, that's the advantage those younger players have. That's why they can be so dangerous.
Jackie Beal, that running bunt, awkward play to the other side of the diamond. It had to be a good throw from Maslin, and she got her.
What a lovely pickup.
Maslin to Callahan. And Charlize Callahan's made a few nice plays the last couple weeks, but Maslin had to be quick here too on the leading team's replay.
Yeah, perfectly executed. Right spot by Jackie. She's done everything right there. But the catcher's arm from third base was enough to get there, and good leaning over by Callahan to take the ball. So
And that's more like the Jackie Beal we know. We got used to, we're accustomed to. Got the ball on the deck. She's quick. She can run.
But that's what Port's got to take a leaf out of, like in that particular inning. So obviously, Borovnik goes down, you know, in a strikeout situation. But the next 2 hitters that come up put the ball in play, and so Jackie's at least made something of it and forced Maslin to come and make a good play, made Callahan make a good catch. Whereas just standing there and swinging at Steph Trzynski, it's not going to bode well for you for the night.
If you were to run that exact bunt 10 times in the same spot, same location, how many times does the defense make that play?
Yeah, enough times for you to do it. So
a better percentage, even if it's 30%, fail, even if it's 70%, they make that play. That 300 mark is probably better than just saying, I'm just going to close my eyes and hope I hit.
Yeah.
At least you get a chance to run. That's the main thing.
So Chillingworth leading off here.
Struck out her first time at bat, and she's showing bunt on the first pitch.
She's got to keep her hands up. Got to stay over the ball, otherwise you invite that. But I like the sentiment. It's aggressive. But that's what Port have got to do. It's going to be a long night if it's just going to be hoping and hitting. So, but Chillingworth has hit off of her before, so she's got to have a bit of belief in herself.
Well, she has not had a ball thrown to her in this game so far. She's been behind 0-2 in each of her at-bats, but the last time she was in this scenario was 3 straight foul balls.
She'll probably throw up now here, Steph, I think.
She chases after one down low, and Kaesler has to double clutch. So Taylor Chillingworth is the leadoff runner for the first time today, or second time today, rather.
That's really good fielding by Lana. I don't know if the video picked that up, but there was a little, just as it came across the circle, it deviated and changed its angle, which sort of forced Lana to double check that. So she did real good to keep that where it was. Now, Porter...
And didn't force the throw.
That's right. Smart play. So this is where Porter got to act now. They've done what they needed to do. They've got their runner.
I'm not sure.
And they've got the 2 women they'd want batting up in the lineup in Callahan and Maslin.
I'm not sure Charlie's got the right signal then.
No.
Look, there'll be a... that's what it...
Lays down the bunt. Trzynski tries to get the lead runner, and she got her.
What a play.
Steph Trzynski to Lana Kaesler, and that was effective.
At least they're trying something, the Magpies, as you said, Anthony.
Yeah. Just, I mean, it was a good bunt. It just, unfortunately, was just a bit hard. It got to Steph a bit quicker and just allowed her to sort of have that lead runner option. But
both teams now have made a nice defensive play in the last 5 minutes or so. Good look at the leading team's replay.
Good throw from Steph too. So
keeps a runner out of scoring position for Jess Maslin.
Good catching from Carly Allen.
Yeah.
Maslin with the team lead of runs batted in, and it's not even close. 20, the next closest is 14, and after that is 10. Think she's been a handy acquisition?
Yeah, your suggestion she's not going to bunt here?
No.
No.
She's 333 with a runner in scoring position. So that's a 1 in 3 chance that she can get the job done. Obviously, we're at first, so it's going to have to be hit a bit deeper.
Well, she got a piece of it. It goes foul. How aggressive are you as a base coach in this situation, knowing that if you do get that deep shot and it is that 50-50 play, are you erring on the side of go?
Eagles are a great defense, so, you know, if it's, you know, they've got weapons everywhere, so it'd be difficult.
I guess only 1 out. Is this up the middle? It has a gap, and the Magpies have a runner in scoring position, and now that play that Steph Trzynski made to get the leadoff runner is looking huge right now.
Absolutely. That wasn't great base running there by Callahan. She should have been running through that. She could have made third on that easy, so she sort of just... But we've got runners at 1 and 2, and we're 1 out, so...
Runner in scoring position, 1 out. Georgia Burr and Cara Tilton, the players that are due up, had this opportunity back in the second when Jess Maslin was standing on second base with no out.
Great pitch there by Steph. Just beat her for sheer pace on that.
Burr struck out and Tilton struck out. 2 of the 4 strikeout victims to Steph Trzynski's name. All 3 batters this inning, though, for Port. They put the ball in play and forced the Eagles to make a play.
And that's all we're asking. I mean, if you're just going to sit there and try and drive Steph to the fence, it's just not going to work. You need to, you know, your best hitter might have a chance at it, but when she's on, and she certainly looks like she is, you need to do something different. And this base runners create pressure.
Pitch rides inside.
Good turn it back from Georgia here.
I mean, Amber Hood hasn't spent a lot of time at third base in her career. You know, if you're maybe going to try and pick up a cheeky stolen base, test what she knows, test how much she's trained there, try something.
Swing and a miss 5 on the day for Steph T.
So Tilton here, she's just got to try and compact this swing down.
Make it land somewhere.
Yeah, try not get caught up trying to hit a one bounce into the fence.
This is why the outfield don't need to play so deep,
Yeah,
as I mention often, because if the ball lands, one run's going to score.
That's not a contact swing. So Steph's on top here. She's just got to cut this swing down, create contact, put the ball in play and force the Eagles defense to come up with an assist and an out.
Trzynski trying to go after Tilton, though.
Carly's been trying to sell that corner, that outside edge for a while now. She's starting to get a little bit of traction on it.
In play, it's an awkward one, but Fuse over towards first makes the play. Bit of pressure on the base pass, but nothing eventuating. It's still a 0-0 game as we head to the bottom of the 4th.
Yeah, she's cut it down, and Mary's done the right thing. She's come inside. She's come to the ball. She hasn't sat there and waited for it. So that's good fielding by the young second base player.
4 of the 5 batters got bat on ball, 2 of them safe hits.
Yeah.
So that's a good sign for the Magpies.
Well, it took a very nice defensive play to help keep a run off the board.
Yeah, absolutely.
In that inning. Both teams have made some good defensive plays. Jess Maslin in the last inning. You think back to that big catch that Gemma Letton had in center field way back in the, what was it, the first inning? With a runner on base in Amber Hood.
Yep.
That's been the difference so far in the game, but the pitcher's looking good. So what adjustments will Lana Kaesler, Steph Trzynski, and Kelsey Nucky, the batters due up for West Torrens, make the second time through versus Liz Engler?
Yeah.
I think they're going to get a run here in this particular innings.
Yeah. If anything, I think with that change-up being effective and with that drop being effective, I would have thought that Mel and Coach Scott probably be instructing their hitters just to move up the front a little bit, just take a little bit off the drop in regards to the angle and also just that change of pace.
Because they know it's coming.
Yeah.
Everyone here knows it's coming.
Yeah, but they're good enough. So, I mean, it's just a matter of learning from your other at-bats. So,
Yep.
And whilst we've got Mel McGee walking in front of us, I just want to make mention, if I can, just quickly off the that back in the Pride round we had earlier on, which I remember, Lee, you bought a bucket load of raffles tickets and
Unsuccessful, I might add.
and Eric had also put a bounty on strikeouts. That closed on Monday, and Mel had wanted to. They were raising money for -18, and Mel had hoped that they would raise $500, and they ended up raising $1,728.
Fantastic.
Across the community, with Sturt donating $680 just on the last couple of days. So, just a tremendous support by the softball community. So, well done, Mel, and well done, the Eagles.
Great work to everybody involved. It's hard to believe that was a month ago, that game.
Yeah.
And see, with that pitch, she starts most of the batters with that same pitch, first pitch.
Lana Kaesler settling in. It's in play, but rolling down the line foul.
Yeah, the one thing that's obvious watching her, like just closely, Lee, there is that it's like she's got some changes of pace in that drop. There's one that's she's getting a lot more break on that's not as fast.
Yep.
That's not a change up. It's just she's just throwing a slower drop.
Yep.
And then she's got that faster one which was sitting high in the zone, but has then since now she's changed the radar on it. So that's she's got a couple of tools in the kit there. So.
Yep.
But Lana's definitely, she's sitting back in the plate, so they're still backing themselves in like they should.
Kaesler to the outfield. It's looking for a gap. The range from Letton, and she tried to make the play. It rattles off her, and Kaesler is to third. She's getting the wave around. There'll be a play at the plate. Kaesler sliding in, and she's safe. Lana Kaesler generates a run, and the Eagles are on the board.
Great work, Lana Casey. I mean, that's, first of all, a great piece of the ball. You can just see by her power she didn't extend. And then Gemma's just seemed to have lost the ball. It seemed to just drop on her at the last second. And then Coach Scott has, forced a play. He's forced Port Adelaide to come up with a relay and a throw. And that's great coaching, great piece of base running by Lana. And
repeat of earlier message, 1 run this innings.
Andrew Scott pumped up on the sideline there, and now Steph Trzynski puts the ball in play. It's bobbled, and Trzynski will reach. So back-to-back hits, one of them Kaesler rounds the bases on, and it is a 1-0 game. Well, Andrew Scott, I dealt with a lot with him in the baseball side of things when he was the third base coach over with the Adelaide Bite, and one thing he always used to say is if there's a 50-50 play, a 40-60 play, he's sending the runner. He wants to force them to make a play because the odds are that they're not, and if they do, you tip your cap to him and say, nice lurk. Bunt, laid, angler, runner advances.
Yeah, absolutely, and that was evidenced by what he just did. I mean, Linda Martin always said to me, we want to force them to have to throw through a relay, to have to throw to the plate. We want them to make 3 plays. That's what she always taught me back in the day, and obviously the successful walkable teams of the past. And
especially on a night where 1 run might be all you need.
Yep.
Now they're hitting, though,
nice
but a nice
fielding.
play at second. Charlize Callahan.
First pitch going early, aren't they?
Well, Steph went early as well, so it's one way to not get caught behind in the count, but you've got to be able to at least put a decent ball into play. And both Steph's was sort of jammed on the handle, but that's good fielding to stay low, but you still got a runner on 3 here.
Mary Fuse, she's got a hit as well. Well, on one play, it was a nice track from Gemma Letton. It was always going to be a difficult play, but what a difference that makes. If that ball finds the glove of Letton, the inning's over right now.
Yep.
Instead, it hits her glove, rolls to the wall. Lana Kaesler scores on the same play, and the Eagles are in front.
And we get to see what happens when Engler goes behind with a run against her now. You can see that her tempo's picked up a bit. She's rushing back a bit to get to the next pitch. She's not taking as much time as she was before. So Porter got to settle here. Just take a breath.
I'd throw the off-pace pitch again here. Just try and buy an out.
Fuse in play. It could be a tricky one. Diving over. Chillingworth couldn't make the play. And Mary Fuse is 2 for 2 and has an RBI.
That's the reason I would have gone for the change-up. Just buy the out. There's 2 down. It's cost another run here.
And she didn't necessarily get a huge piece of it, but it was just in that
just
awkward
enough.
spot.
Yeah.
But again, ball in play, you're forcing the field to have to come up with something. So, not much Chillingworth could have done with that.
And if runs were pricey for West or for the Port Magpies before, now they're borderline unaffordable.
Yeah, the next 10 minutes is going to tell us a lot about how much they're into this. So
Pitchers do things by numbers, don't they? By habit. And you can read, that's the one she rolls her wrists over it. You can just about read, if you study it long enough, you can read what's coming next.
Yeah. But Mary Fuss, I tell you what she's doing. She's batting herself into a finals team, I tell you that. I mean, it's
Last few weeks have been pretty good for her.
Yeah.
you know, when you in my past, we picked a side, we picked the best 9 hitters, and then we set
Found the spot.
then
for
we
them.
set the field after that. So she keeps doing that. She's going to find herself playing in the last weeks of March.
Well, she's hitting .316 with runners in scoring position. And that'll go up after that right there.
Yeah, but Liz shouldn't now go away from the plan. Don't try and just blast them out. Just work them.
Count full. Fuse should get a good jump.
Go to your best pitch, the one that's working tonight.
Yeah.
Throw that now.
I mean, you're up against a side that's won 16 games. I mean, they're going to make contact.
It's a walk, so another runner in scoring position coming up for Brody Borovnik. Struck out her first time up to bat. Runner for the catcher. Kelsey Nucky running for the catcher. 2 big runs, though, scored this inning. It started with Lana Kaesler leading things off. Smashes one to left field, rounds all the bases.
Yeah, nearly every batter that's come to the plate, anything that's been remotely close thereafter. So West Torrens have definitely changed their approach in how they're going about this. So they're aggressively trying to put the pressure back on her. So that's good play by West Torrens. But as you say, Lee, I think Porter just got to hold the plan here.
Chop to the right, a nice play by Burr. She touches the bag, but 2 runs on the board for West Torrens in the 4th, and they have a 2-0 lead through 4.
Yeah, it's amazing that catch at centre field, how much of a difference that could have made, but that's past now. You've got to get on with it, and Port showed some signs in the last innings. You know, they had a couple of base runners, so, but...
now they're chasing 2 runs. Engler, Oates, and Thompson due up. Well, you can't, it's hard, as a coach, I'm sure it's hard to recreate what finals intensity would feel like, but as far as regular season games go, and even the feeling around the diamond tonight, the intensity, the focus you see on the coaches, this is about as close to finals pressure as you can emulate in a regular season game.
Yeah, I definitely felt that driving down tonight, just the anticipation of, you know, West Torrens been able to secure second and allow them to go into, you know, full preparation mode, not having to worry about, you know, we still have to fight for that second spot. And as I said, that first and second double chance can't be underestimated. It's a huge advantage to go into. So, but you know, it has been finals. You know, I mean, do we want to have Joanna Grohl and Sophie Hall here? Sure, of course we do. You know, we want to see both teams fully stocked, ready to go. But this has been a high quality game, and yeah, it's up to see what Port can manufacture out of it.
Look at it this way: if the Eagles win this game, they're 1 win away from playing in a grand final. Yeah. No different from if they were playing in an elimination final, where they would be 1 win away from being 1 win away. That's what the formula is tonight. Win this game, and you're 1 win away from playing in the big dance.
Yep. Yeah, and for Port, you know, they needed some things to go their way if they win tonight, and they still might turn this round, you know, but they had to win their last couple and get West Torrens to drop a couple. So
still plenty of time, and Steph Trzynski doesn't allow a lot of runs, but when she does, they do tend to come in 2s or 3s.
Well, we saw that grouping against Sturt back in the start of February when White and Cameron got a hold of her at the end there. But you know, the thing to remember to that point was that Steph had been dominant up until that point. So
it can turn. It
can turn, and that's the beauty of the game. It's
I think, and I've said it many times before, boys, when Steph's going, maximum runs, you'll get 2 runs off her. You get more than 2, you've got a chance of winning. Because they'll get 2 for sure. They've already got 2.
Elizabeth Engler trying to find her way on base.
Well, in the 2 games that she's pitched against them previously this season, Trzynski that is.
And a big strikeout called, 6 for Steph Trzynski here in the 5th.
Is 0. They haven't scored off of it
okay.
yet. So, I mean, that's a tough ask. So, but Porter just, you know, they've not got to panic here. They've just got to try and break things down, rely on your basics. The advantage, I think, that you have if you are a hitter from Port Adelaide against somebody like Steph is that when you go to the plate, you know that you've got a pitcher that's not going to throw around you. She's going to try and strike you out, so you at least know that you're going to get challenged at the plate. The hard thing there, of course, is to find the pitch in the count which you can actually use. And that takes some patience, obviously, and obviously takes a good eye. And it's not easy at the pace that she throws at, but you've got to go to the plate with an intent. There's no point just going there just sort of hoping to see it off of the hip and roll the dice.
No
She's
balls and 2 strikes here. She's in big trouble, Taylor.
Yeah. And she's changed her action now at 2 strikes. Maybe do that at 1. Cut it down. But there's a reason why she's the reigning Cathcart medalist, you know, so.
And she'll pull some votes this year. It's amazing. She's having an incredible season. She's hitting around 370. She's driven in a bucket loads of runs. She's got the 0.89 ERA. She's backed up her big year from the year before. Zoe Thompson, big swing. And you just looking for that contact, Weathers.
Just want to cut it down. I mean, it's hard. You know, that's the thing. You just got to, against quality pitching like this.
Is it kind of just don't play her game?
If you do, you're gonna lose. I remember at the Nationals, we played the ACT, and they had a pitcher called Darcy Byrne, who I think was an import.
That's a great Aussie name, just quietly, Darcy Byrne.
And he threw 19 of 21 strikeouts for the night. And I remember in our debrief, we were sort of talking about what happened. And he was just breaking the ball left, right, at right angles and stuff like that. And the next time we played the ACT, we completely changed our mindset. We didn't win, but we were at least competitive because we forcibly were just trying to put the ball into play. And sometimes you just got to do that.
But see, some young players like this, she's at least shortened up now, Zoe, but they get caught up with the pace. The pace comes, so I'm thinking, I've got to swing harder to get to it. No, just make contact. So she's shortened up.
Yeah.
See if she keeps it going the short.
Well, Trzynski looks relaxed.
Yeah.
She looks like she's in her rhythm, and she looks dialed in. She's made a couple nice defensive plays, too, and she struck out the side. So whatever mojo's out there, Steph Trzynski is feeling it.
As ridiculous as it may sound, that's not actually a bad thing for Port that 7, 8, 9 have gone, because at least they're going to get one last shot from the top of their line.
Yep.
And so
It's not fractured.
if it was 2 out with a runner at first and Letton comes to the plate, you know, sometimes you just send that runner, and if she gets on the second, you know, all right, maybe that changes things. But it's, you know, hitting good pitching is hard. You know, that's why those teams are placed second on the ladder. So, but, you know, Port are trying. You know, they're definitely fighting here. I mean, they haven't been blown out.
Well, Port Adelaide, they have had runners on. They had a leadoff runner on second in the second inning, and then they tried to manufacture something. They had the infield hit in the fourth, led things off. But then that nice fielder's choice play that Steph Trzynski made kept the runner at first. Jess Maslin had a single, and all the risk was kind of mitigated. So even though the Magpies have done the right things, it's been a couple moments that have altered the game, and no bigger than Lana Kaesler having the ball doink off of the center fielder. Gemma Letton hit the wall and her around the bases while it happens, and that's the big difference in the ball game right now.
Yeah, she's Lana Kaesler since Christmas has been on fire. She's coming into amazing form at the wrong time of the year for everybody else.
But the right time for her.
Yeah.
There's no in-betweens with Lana. She's full on, isn't she?
Yeah.
Concentrates. So does this girl batting now.
Yeah.
Amber.
I was just about to say the dangerous thing here for Port Adelaide is that whilst they're trying to figure out how they're going to get 2, they're back at the top of West Orange's lineup, so they've got to very quickly switch back to a defensive mode and not let anything else happen.
Yeah, don't look too far ahead.
Yeah.
Worry about this.
That's what the coach is for. You should be in there plotting something. So
Still half an hour of game time to play. If we keep at this rate, we'll get the full 7 in the 90s. Still a chance that doesn't happen, but on pace for it. And Amber Hood doing what Amber Hood does best. Just watch and wait.
Well, I think we said last time, you know, the leadoff hit is really important for Port to get, and no more important one than this, because Amber Hood gives them a whole heap of options if she can get herself on.
Well, the main thing is here for a young pitcher like Liz is don't go away from your strength. There's one pitch that's working well for her tonight. She needs to go to that when she's in trouble. She seems to be mixing it up a bit more now. Which, you know, she understands this strong batting side she's facing, but
That's a good pitch, though, coming
Yeah,
back.
yeah.
Like, I mean, she had to throw that, and Amber forced her to throw that. So
Every pitcher needs to have a go-to pitch on that particular night. Not something that was working 3 or 4 matches ago.
That's right.
But tonight, in the warm-up, you know what's going to work for you.
Hard shot. Again, awkward area. Letton ranging over.
The Riverland Roadrunner.
She's had to work for a couple of those today.
Yeah, she's got the speed, though.
is there like a strong breeze coming over the field towards us? Because all of those balls are just seeming to drop.
No, I don't think
And it
there's
feels
any
like there's
breeze at all.
nothing here.
Yeah,
It's
it's
weird.
like, I mean, the one that she had before, this just seemed to be like there's no carry on it.
Heavy atmosphere, I think.
Important first batter retired from the Port defensive perspective.
Yeah, massive thing getting the lead off, because now you sort of neutralise the short game and you're forcing Jackie to maybe go to what her weapons are, but
Jackie Beal. Tip foul.
keep your hands in there a bit longer.
She put some good pressure on the defense her last time up. Had the running bunt down the third base line. It had to be perfect. This a bit easier.
Oh,
Although it was made difficult, and she's safe.
That's what leg speed does if you're batting in the left-handed box and you get the ball on the deck.
I think you see Callahan just get flat-footed here.
No margin for error.
She sort of went and then moved. I think she sort of didn't maybe respect the speed that Beal's got.
Jackie Beal, 2 at-bats, putting pressure.
I would pitch very carefully, Elizabeth.
It's Alana Kaesler who scored on her last hit, as we know. And then Steph Trzynski following. Your approach to these 2 batters changes when there's just 1 out on the board versus 2.
Certainly does.
I reckon hit and runs on the go here.
There's the runner. They're going to try to get the lead runner. It bounces off the bag, and Andrew Scott was thinking about sending Jackie Beal around. He thought the wiser, and he'll leave runners on the corners for his MVP coming up to bat.
Gee, that runner looked like she left real early then.
Yeah, but,
Replay, it's hard to say.
I mean, throw's not great, obviously, and it's in the dirt, and that's a bit of pressure, but nobody was in the right spots anyway. Beal's speeds just created chaos, and that's the trick. So let me guess, Lee, what would you do here?
With Steph up to bat? Well, Steph is jammed, but moving back to make the play. Will they double her up? Jess Maslin.
First pitch.
There wasn't really much doubt how she would play at third base moving over there, was there?
I think Steph realised when they weren't going to intentionally walk her, this might be the only pitch she gets, so she was after it. So, but 2 out, and Kelsey has a knack of getting this ball just to fall in on the green.
Pressure's on the pitcher. That's why I'd be taking a few pitches.
Aggressive play, though, from Maslin to throw it across the diamond. If that drifts away, it's a run.
Yeah.
Well, Port are going to try and use this. The catcher's going to try and sort of start putting some pitches at the start of the count that aren't hittable, because Torrens are coming out and just going pretty much everything. So
Jess Maslin could have gone the fake throw then and caught that runner off. That's
Kind of golf to the left field by Kelsey Nucky. She's going to cash in a run. Ka-ching, it's 3-0. Eagles lead. And as you said, Weathers, the chaos of Jackie Beal's foot speed, the catalyst of this rally from the Eagles.
And I was just thinking, Kelsey Nucky's one of those dangerous players to throw a change-up to, because if she just has that knack of getting the ball to fall in, sometimes throwing her a change-up is very dangerous. So,
Yep.
But now you replace that with genuine power. I mean, we've seen backside hit some great long line drives. So if she gets a fast one here, this could get over real quick.
3-0 game.
Looks keen to hit too, doesn't she, Danny, here?
Yeah, but I don't mind the fact that she's had to have a look first. So, but 2 out.
Well, the pressure's back in the middle, isn't it? Just make her throw some pitches. Get the one you like that.
Slash to the right field and just goes foul. That was in danger alley, and that might have cashed in both of them.
Yeah. Lana Kayser, the other thing with the power in her batting and the power of her, strong fielding arm, she's actually scarily fast on the base pass. So as a runner at 2 in scoring position right now, that's a weapon for West Torrens.
Yeah, she's a powerful runner, all right.
Up high.
So backside is 350 with runners in scoring position. So she's just a bit better than a 1 in 3 chance.
Which is pretty good in softball land.
Yeah.
To the outfield.
That's
Defense
it.
might need to make a play, and diving in to make the play. The Riverland Bandit robs backside of a hit, takes runs off the board, and keeps Port in it.
A couple of good catches that inning, so that's going to make her feel pretty good. Yeah, just way out in front, but Lettons had to make good pace.
Leg speed.
I mean, Kayser was pretty much at the plate by the time she's taken that ball.
Yeah.
So, but
what a day Lettons had. She's taken away 2 runs from some nice defensive play. She's also had 1 run bounce off her head and move to the wall.
Yeah.
It's a net 1 saved.
Yeah, but I mean, I would suggest, is it Coach Lucas from Port Adelaide? I think he would trade that right now for her to put the ball over a fence or
Try to get a rally going.
Try and get something going here because, top 6. This is going to be their last roll of the dice.
And they need a rally, right? Like a home run, a quick swing of the bat. That doesn't do much. You need a couple hits, well, more than a couple now, but a few hits strung together. And Letton, Chillingworth, Callahan, Maslin, they're the next 4.
They're capable.
They've just got to
very capable.
Yeah, cut these swings down. Just don't try and necessarily meet fire with fire when fire's been burning you all night. You've got to just cut it down.
Get the hose out.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, hopefully, I mean, it's always danger time in a game, 3rd time round. That's sometimes why in the bigger leagues you see that 3rd time round they're changing pitches just to stop that 3rd look. So
They've got to go after Steph early.
Yeah.
In a final scenario, is this where you might see a Port pitching change with a couple options they'd have?
Depends on how dominant Grau had been up until that point. I mean, from what we've seen tonight, there's a lot to like about Angler. I mean, would you have rather that you could have spread that workload over 20 games and really build up some, continuity? I mean, this is her first game that she's pitched, and it's, round 17. So
and versus a very patient team.
Yeah, she'll learn from that.
Hit towards the right field. There's the hit they needed. Getting aboard is Gemma Letton, so they have their speediest player on the path.
Gee, she's a good player, isn't she?
yeah, you're not going to lead the league in hitting and go none for 3 for the night. So good work, Gemma Letton.
Be great to see how she goes in the Stars lineup.
She'll put pressure on other teams. So, Taylor Chillingworth, she's got a hit already. It was an infield one towards Lana Kaysler back in the 4th inning. And she lays down a bunt, awkward spot, picks up, they get the lead runner again. Heads up defense. Amber Hood and the Eagles doing it all night.
Yeah, that wasn't a sacrifice. That was a push play.
Yep.
To shortstop, obviously, cheating over to second to cover up the runner that was already going. But Amber Hood, smart enough and fast enough to act on that and fill that hole. And again, the Eagles' quality defense comes to the fore.
Good look at the leading team's replay. Again, much like the 4th inning, where they had 4 of the 5 batters put the ball in play, unlike the last inning where Steph Jasinski struck out the side. Again, 2 batters, 2 in play, but again, West Torrens stopping runners from moving around the pad. Callahan. Flared to right field. Backside and Nucky had a look, but not much came of it.
So I've taken the headphones off a couple of times tonight, just in the last couple of innings, and it's been really interesting. The Port field's been a lot quieter.
Yep.
And the Eagles field is up, and they're all talking, they're all communicating. Even Mary Fuss, as a young player, is telling a senior player like Backside what's going on and where we're standing. Great communication, which shows that the Eagles are up.
It showed, didn't it, with the Magpies in the field defensively, as you said, Anthony, and they need just somebody with the experience to come in, chat them in. Just call time out. We haven't seen any of those.
No.
Just call time out and just say, look, we're going all right. Just get the next batter.
But, you know, Hood's constantly talking with Brody at left.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mary talking backside. It's just great pitch.
9 on the day for Steph Trzynski, and it's two away in the 6th. And the last big alarm bells danger bat in the lineup of the evening comes up here in Jess Maslin.
I think Steph would be fairly confident because in the worst case scenario, the game's going to be 3-2 if it goes horribly, horribly wrong. But
and a lot has to go right for Jess Maslin.
Absolutely, and I think Steph will be more just using that as fuel just to attack. And, you know, she's thrown 9 for the night. She's looked completely dominant.
She will not go away from attacking.
No, and Carly's Collins real well so far.
It's had some pace on it, didn't it?
Reared back.
I mean, we love everybody watching us on Space Quote Sports, and we encourage you to keep watching. But if you ever get a chance to come down and watch these sides, especially in finals, and come and actually see this stuff for real live, you'll be genuinely surprised how hard they throw.
It's also in finals time, the energy that's created around the diamond. And you think to last year, that Hills side had this weird special energy about them that they were the underdogs.
Yeah.
They beat the higher seeded Magpies and they beat the higher seeded Eagles, and they were drumming and chanting and singing along.
Yeah.
It was contagious around the diamond, and they led in a grand final.
They were up in the final too for a bit.
They were up for a bit, and then you blinked, and Sturt said, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, Bell White has that capability of doing stuff like that.
The experience told, didn't it, in the end?
Yeah.
That's what was the difference.
Well, the moment just got the better of Jess just then. A pitch that she should have gone after, she left.
Towards right field. Danny backside's there, and she makes the play. Side retired, and we head to the bottom of the 6th, and Port Adelaide are down 3 runs, and they only have 3 outs up their sleeves.
So it's looking very much like the Eagles are going to secure second, which is going to take that pressure off and allow them to sort of manipulate the lineup as they want. In the last 2 games now, they can just start really focusing on preparing for that first game against Sturt.
Well, a win here would temporarily, on points, move them into first place.
Yeah. But the interesting one in the ladder tonight that I thought we'd just touch on is I was looking at the Hills Heat record. I mean, since Christmas, they haven't won since Christmas. They had that draw up at Nimbo Park with Glenelg. So they've found it real tough. Obviously, you know, the loss of Georgia Hood's going to do that. But Walkerville and the Hills are still only separated by a point. Walkerville's got to play Port Adelaide, and they've got to play West Torrens in their last 2 games. So in both cases, no certainty. The Hills get Sturt twice, again, unlikely, but they get Glenelg. If the Hills beat Glenelg in 2 weeks,
they play on Saturday.
on Saturday. If they beat the Glenelg on Saturday, and you would expect that Port Adelaide and West Torrens maybe get the better of Walkerville, the Hills might sneak in.
Yep.
They're still in this for sure. Although now, as a coach, are you aware of this stuff in the ladder, right? So if you're the Magpies and let's say this game finishes as it is, can you almost say, hey, do you ever posture for position saying, you know, we want to, or do you just let it play out?
No, you never try and manipulate anything like that. The one thing that
when you do that, you flirt with danger, don't you?
Yeah. The one thing that you start doing different though over these last couple of games is you start getting a little bit of a look at what your real lineup's going to be. So,
chopped over towards shortstop. This was Fuse up to bat. Chillingworth makes the play.
Oh, wow, Mary Fuse is human after all. So. Good piece of fielding there by Port Adelaide there. Still had to make that out.
Come to the ball. You got to come to the ball.
So Port began posturing for what their lineup will be in that elimination game versus either Walkerville or Hills.
Well, what happens now is that we only see stats of all of the teams combined, but Port are going to have stats versus the pitchers like Ramsey and co from Walkerville. And so this is where our lineup stats that we look at are going to be different because Port are going to have certain hitters against certain pitchers at Walkerville that do much better than what we can see on just general stats.
Chopped again over towards short. Busy one for Chillingworth, and again makes the play.
So that's where you start to see what those lineups actually start to look like because, you know, you might have a particular couple of players like I mean, we've talked tonight about Mary Fuss basically forcing her way into an offensive lineup that's already really strong just by her overall performances. But there are going to be some pitches, like tonight, we talked in pre-game, Letton, Grower and Chillingworth, the only people that have hit Trzynski. And tonight, Letton is the only one that's done it. So
their preparation, Port, would change to look and say one of those two teams, Walkerville and Hills.
Yeah. So, I mean, Porter obviously just going to start getting ready for Walkerville, at the moment. But unfortunately, you can't do that because, if the Hills pick up a game, so it's still the ladder's still live.
Fluid.
Yeah. I mean, tonight we've secured top 2.
How important is last bat in a finals game between the Eagles and the Falcons? A little thing?
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to have, Again, I mean, I know I reference...
Hit over towards left field. That has some eyes. Brody Borovnik is aboard with a much-needed hit.
I know I probably talk about when I was able to, learn from Linda Martin, but she was the best. And I remember there were times where Linda would want us to, we would want to lead off. We would want to set tone as a team. But then there are other times, where you sort of, if they've got bullpen depth, you maybe want to go last and sort of try and push it as long as you can. So, but that's the great thing about finals, because now the Premier League's awesome, but now it goes to a whole new level because all these little matchups start to happen where you're trying to engineer, like what we talked about tonight. Port had an early chance, they didn't take it. West Torrens got an early chance, took it, and game's over.
You're not thinking about the long game anymore. You're thinking about in-the-moment stuff.
Yeah, and the finals, when you've got the best on best, you're just trying to get one,
One win at a time.
That's right.
Should be exciting, shouldn't it, Lee?
It certainly will, and we look forward to it every game.
We'll have all those games for you on Spacequake Sports. In softball SA, those finals start very, very soon. Next Saturday is the last minor round game, which means 2 weeks. I'll be here, fellas. 2 weeks from tonight. It'll be a good one.
Holding the Canada trip off?
Holding the can't miss this. Can't miss Open Women's Championships either.
Not at home.
There's no way I'm missing that one. We'll go to Canada after that. Canada can wait. I've waited 3 years anyways.
Yep.
Again, Amber Hood not an easy out.
No, good player, isn't she? She gets on. She's a typical #1 lead-off hitter like Jordan Harris is. They get their money's worth. They don't chase bad pitches. That's the main thing they don't do.
And this is slashed to right field, and it stayed. No, it went foul. Still 2 outs right now, but what this is doing, it's a long turn at bat. We only have 3 minutes before the umpires could potentially call the game. So a base hit here, and we might be looking at ball game.
And then we'll have a look at the predictions.
And we'll find it's probably somewhere in between.
It's pretty close.
Swing and a miss.
Good pitch.
And crucial, they'll still have time to have one more opportunity. So the final line, well, might not be the final line, actually. We don't know.
So, overall, Elizabeth Engler been super impressive tonight. I mean, there's been a lot to like about that. I mean, it's, as I said, it's a shame that, her pitching debut's round 17. I would have loved to have seen her work in tandem with Grauer from round 1. That would have, it's no secret that Port, obviously, 3 or 4 of their best players have missed 25% of the season because, obviously some of them don't play on the Wednesday night games, and that's obviously affected things. But that's just the nature of, where we're at now. But
Weathers, I'll challenge you too here. In the 4th inning, that very first batter, Lana Kaesler, if Gemma Letton, and it was a difficult catch to make, I get that. If she makes that catch, the rest of the inning does not unfold like it did, and there probably is no run scored. You go to the 5th inning where they scored another run. Jackie Beal reached on an error. The run doesn't score.
Yep.
So if you clean up those 2 small things, all of a sudden it's 0-0.
Yeah. And you instinctively saw when she, had that ball grounded back to her with the lead runner. West Torrens have thrown at the lead runner 3 times tonight.
Yep.
She turns around, she throws the ball. The throw's not great, but second base and shortstop aren't
Advances
there.
a run.
And And that's instinctive because, again, West Torrens have always, prided themselves on great defence.
Yep.
It's just, I think what we've seen tonight, and hopefully she sticks around, because that's going to be a weapon for Port in the future, and even in the short term in finals. So
it could be a very different game. A couple times they've had the leadoff runner, including the leadoff runner in second base. In fact, 3 different times Port Adelaide have got a lead runner on. They just haven't found a way to bring them home. So Port are not as far away as a 3-0 scoreline suggests, and a 3-0 scoreline ain't a very big scoreline.
Yeah, that's the thing. The game can be that final line. So, but as I said, England's been really impressive, but I don't know, it's probably early to call votes, Lee, but I would definitely think that Trzynski's probably going to get a couple tonight. She's been just amazing.
9 strikeouts. Can she get to double digit? She's ahead 0-2 on Georgia Burr, who she struck out twice already today.
Yeah, one of the things I love about Steph is the first pitch is usually a strike. It's a tough strike. A lot of players don't go for it. A lot of players that go for it can't get anywhere near it.
Yeah.
So it's an excellent pitch.
There it is, double digits.
And then she just works you around.
A very refreshed Steph.
And it showed, hasn't it?
Well, that when Coach Scott made the change for Harper, I think top 5 against Walkerville on the weekend when the game was 2-2.
Yep.
She put that thing to bed. That was 7 batters, 6 strikeouts. That was,
Good night, Irene.
So I was just about to say, Tilton did get a piece of, wasn't a lot, but she did at least make contact on the right side.
Yeah, Mary Fuse had to make a play.
Yeah, on her last at bat. So 3rd time round.
And again, onto the right side of the diamond, Kelsey Nucky has been one of the best over at first base for a number of years now, and Kelsey Nucky does what Kelsey Nucky does.
Just rock solid. It's a great play by Kelsey. That's that ball spinning back away from her. So
not easy. Handled very easily.
Yeah, important message there for the young players watching. Notice her right hand covering that ball up. So catch them with 2 hands. We even do it at the Premier League level.
Final out of the game. Steph Trzynski with 10 strikeouts, scattered a few hits in there, and some good defense from the Eagles, and the formula has been no runs on the board. And the Eagles can taste that double chance game now. Engler gonna make her work for it.
Good mix.
Good catching, Carly.
Catching from both teams has been pretty solid.
Yeah, I thought with no Maslin behind the plate what the go was, but that's actually worked really well. And I mean, Carly's she's book smart.
We haven't seen one pitch go behind the catches, have we?
There was one dirt ball, but
big ol' swing from Liz Engler, and with a full count, Port down to their final strike. West Torrens can taste a trip to the double chance round. And the Eagles are officially a win away from playing in the big dance. 11 strikeouts for Steph Trzynski, who toyed with Port Adelaide all night, and it's a 3-0 victory for the Eags.
Yeah, that's great pitching, by Steph. That's a great game by West Torrens, but, to have Letton, Chillingworth, Callahan, Maslin, Burr, yes, it would be good to have, Dolphin and Grauer in there as well, but for Trzynski to throw 11 strikeouts against that lineup at this time in the year, that's dominance. That's very scary. And more importantly, how exciting is semi-final one starting to look now that we know we're going to get
West Torrens, rather, they had won 12 or 13 in a row. They surged up the standings. They moved into first, and then they lost 3 games in a row, and some questions were starting to creep up, saying, all right, what's the go here? If they open in the window for Port, a game like this really helps close that door a little bit, doesn't it?
It certainly does, and we know what their batting is like. West Torrens, they can bat a long way down, but they hadn't been able to do it collectively. You get somebody with a long shot, Lana put one over the fence, just little things like that. If their batting's going well behind Steph, as I've said before Christmas, they are my pick to take it out this year. And I'm not discounting Port and I'm not discounting Sturt. They're both very good sides. But I'll stick with West Torrens.
Yeah, I still think, I mean, obviously my heart says West Torrens, but I think Sturt, collectively over the season, and just with the power they've got and their depth in their lineup. If they're fully fit, Fidgeby, Trzynski.
And they have all the bases covered, Sturt, don't they?
Yeah, they're just
no weaknesses.
Been there before, so in both cases, that first semi now is super exciting, and that's what we wanted. We wanted, now both of those teams can go away and start making some preparation in the background about what's to come. But, for Port, as you said a couple of times tonight, Eric, a drop catch in centre field, a rolling ball over here on the right side.
Little things
go the other way, and this game's 0-0, and we're here at the 7th. So,
when you do the little things well, big things tend to happen.
That's right.
For true that. But Steph Trzynski tonight, dominant in the middle. But Elizabeth Engler, lot to like about what we saw from her tonight. Her batting will definitely come. She'll be better for the experience. First time under lights here, pitching. So, yeah.
Well, that's where she'll be in 2 weeks' time. West Torrens, rather, will be here in 2 weeks' time under the lights playing Sturt in that double chance game, a chance to get to the grand final. Finals just around the corner. Big thank you to everybody from around the country, around the world, tuning in for this one. The West Torrens Eagles beat the Port Magpies 3-0. They clinch a top 2 spot on behalf of Lee Hull, on behalf of Anthony Weatherston, on behalf of producer Brandon and producer Mia. This is Eric Ballnar saying good night.